I like to read different texts.
What about creator? Do you believe in a creator? Or?
I don't know, I think so. I'm trying to think about it.
We try to I'll put it to you in an abstract question. Do you think something can come from nothing? Absolute nothingness, like no energy, no matter.
I don't understand what absolute nothing is, to be honest.
It's the absence of something. You know, in definitions, usually we can use the opposite of something to define something else, right? So I can say love is the opposite of hate. You can find that in dictionaries, right? So if I say nothing is the absence of something, if we understand something, therefore we can understand what nothing is. It is the absence of that something that we know.
That's clever.
Right? Makes sense? Yeah. So what we say, nothing is the absence of everything that we know and anything that we know. And we say if that ever existed, then we cannot ever have something come into existence. Because 0 plus 0 plus 0 will always give you what? 0. Right? Yeah. So then when we look at the universe, we say the universe cannot come from nothing. So would you agree with me it has to come from something? Something. Yeah, I didn't say what that something is, but I'm saying there has to be something that brings the universe to existence. Wouldn't you agree?
I suppose so. I think it's hard to get your brain around the. I like the whole spirituality of being more in touch with yourself and trying to be less.
I think, can I be honest with you? I think in the Western society, a lot of people have a kind of phobia against the idea of God, right? So, and I think that could be because there is a wrong definition of God that is widespread. Like, for example, a lot of people think God is a man with a beard sitting somewhere in a chair on the sky. We don't believe that as Muslims, right? When we use the word Allah or God, we're referring to something that is not in the conception and understanding of the human beings in reality. So we don't know the essence of Allah, how Allah really is, right? But what we know is that Allah is a powerful force, is a powerful creator, is a knowledgeable and wise creator by looking at the universe, right? And by understanding this concept that I was telling you, that we cannot have something from nothing. And if we cannot have something from nothing, then we need something that exists forever. Right? We need something that is always existing. And we know that's not the universe because the universe has a starting point. Right? So we say there has to be something other than the universe that is always existing. If it brings the universe into existence, then it has to display certain attributes, such as power that we cannot even comprehend, such as knowledge that we cannot comprehend as human beings, right? Then it comes to the idea of what you call spirituality, right? Because you have an idea spread in the West, which is liberalism, and the concept of harm, that do as what you want as long as you don't harm anyone else, and the idea of humanism and all of that, right? So in the West, people are focusing on individuals rather than focusing on the creator of individuals, right? So I want to be good to other people. Okay, well, what the one who created me and the other people, right? Let me ask you this question, okay? Where would you get your morality from?
I think you just feel guilty if you do something bad, don't you? It's just natural.
So do you think everything bad that we do, people feel guilty when you do?
No.
Do you know there's a lot of psychopaths that do a lot of evil things without feeling? In fact, they derive pleasure.
It's really evil if they don't believe it is. It's hard, isn't it? If you don't have a morality compass, you're really held accountable for that.
Excellent. What you're saying there is excellent. I'll tell you, in Islam we have two concepts, right? First thing is called the fitrah. Well, fitrah is an innate disposition that we're created with, right? That tells us, yeah, it's you can call it consciously, right? You can use that term for it. But what we say, it's only in the well-known, clear things like killing, raping, or stealing. It's not in detailed matters of life. So there's a lot of things that we do not know intuitively, innately. But there are things that we know intuitively, innately. So no, you don't have to tell someone killing is wrong. He would know before doing the action that this action is wrong, right? So, but then you have the aspect of revelation. So I said to you have two ideas. Why is revelation necessary? Because revelation would explain the other things that I'm telling you about, in which they don't exist inherently within the human being. For essence, there are so many ideas that I would say that's what differentiates the West from the Muslim world, for example, right? So Muslims will have certain rules and the West would say, no, these things are okay. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Islam says, don't drink at all, right? No, it's not like don't be an alcoholic, just something that everyone would agree with, I would say, most people, right? No, we would say don't drink at all, right? Now, you thinking now, tell me, do you have an intuitive compass that would tell you whether not drinking at all is good or bad?
Yeah, I think for me it's different though.
That's what I'm trying to make, right? Yeah. This is the point I'm trying to make.
A lot of people know, but for me, like...
You know that intuitive thing that I was telling you about? It gets influenced by society. So I believe in your case...
But you get bad consequences, don't you? Like if you drink and you get bad consequences and you feel rubbish, then you want to live a better life, so I think you just follow things.
That's moral consequentialism.
Yeah, probably.
But moral consequentialism is not always the case.
But how do you get to drink if you don't feel bad about it?
Sorry?
Why don't you drink then?
That's the point I was making. I said there's two things. The second thing is revelation. So revelation is a scripture or that comes from the Creator. Why? Why? The Creator is good, is all good. So what the Creator commands is therefore good, right? So whatever Allah commands us or whatever the Creator commands us, obviously after establishing this book is from the Creator, because we know anyone can make the claim, right? After establishing this book is from the Creator, whatever the book says, we'll abide by it because we know the Creator is all good, therefore His command will also be all good. But the point, why am I asking you the question? Because without the Creator in your worldview, you cannot achieve objective morality. The best you can do...
Let me just process this.
No problem. So objective is that which comes from outside,
right.
And subjective is your own ideas, understanding, and your influence of your society.
I mean, how do you know that the script? I mean, yeah, how do you know that what you're given is accurate? That's the question.
That's good. That's a separate question I can answer right now. So we can establish using our rationality and common sense that the Quran is from God, right?
Okay.
Why there are different types of different types of evidences in which we can demonstrate whether the Quran is from God or not. I'll give you an example, right? The Quran is a scripture that is. No, it's okay.
Just check my friends are still here. Oh yeah, they're over there. It's fine.
Yeah, the Quran is a scripture that came 1,400 years before, right? In the past.
Yeah.
Now, the people that lived 1,400 years ago did not have telescopes, did not have microscopes, did not have any equipment or technology or cars of what we have today, right? Therefore, their knowledge about the world was very primitive, it was mistaken in many cases and scenarios. Would you agree with me?
Potentially, but then you get the Egyptians, for example, that had a lot of technology and they were a very old civilization and they seem to have some sort of knowledge. I'm not really sure about the idea of all the civilizations.
And the Egyptians had so many wrong beliefs as well.
Like what?
For example, they believed when you die, the heavens, the sky, and the earth, they weep for you. They believe there are individual gods for individual elements, right? For the clouds, for the sun. That's what I'll tell you the truth. A lot of people, they talk about the Egyptians, but they're not really delved into detail to what the Egyptians used to believe. They had a lot of ridiculous things as well, right? But they did have certain, and that's with every civilization, they did have certain advancements and certain things that maybe today we're fascinated by, right? But still we'll come back to the point I'm making. You will have a lot of problems because you don't have the technology to understand so many things about the world. Therefore, your observations will lead you to a lot of wrong conclusions, right? You can hit some correct, very fascinating things like the Egyptians did, but overall, you will have more mistakes than you would have good things, right? So, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a scripture, the Hindu scripture, for example.
I've got to go in a minute.
Right, it's okay, no problem. We'll finish with that.
Okay.
For example, the Hindu scripture talks about the world. It says the sun has 7 horses pulling it.
Okay.
It says the earth is static. There's a bull with his 2 horns. He's holding the earth. This was the beliefs of the people at the time.
Right.
So I understand where it comes from. So I'm saying if the Quran was a scripture that is from 1,400 years before, it will have mistakes, things that will not correlate with the reality that we have today. That's one example. The Quran talks about the expansion of the universe. It talks about the embryology, the baby developing in the mother's womb, right? So I'll let you go because I know you need to go. It's okay. Did I give you a copy?
I took a copy.
Oh, you took a copy. Okay. So if you have any questions, just come back. You know.
Thank you.
And what I would say, investigate. Can I give you a channel before you go? Something to watch on YouTube,
Yeah.
maybe when you're free.
I've got one. I've got no percent.
No problem. Oh, okay. Maybe another time. It's okay. Just read the Quran. If you have any questions, come back. You know.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time. See.
قال يا عشيرتي جميعكم حتى ابنتي لا أغني عنكم فاعبدوا إلهكم ووحدوا.
إذا أعجبك الفيديو لا تنسى الإعجاب والتعليق، ولكي يصلك كل جديد اشترك الآن.